For some reason, many people think that on Macs there are only paid applications, meaning that most things you have on a Mac are paid for. And this is completely false. It's true that on a Mac in the App Store you can access applications and some are paid, but that doesn't mean that many can be installed for free or are open source and that they are even better than many paid options. I personally have fallen into the trap of purchasing a paid application, only to later discover there was an open source one that was significantly better. That's why in this video I'm going to show you 5 applications that are either free or open source which you can use in your daily life and that are genuinely good. Fantastic. The first app or something I recommend you install, which isn't exactly an app but rather a package manager. I recommend you have it for many reasons, because it's very convenient and because once you understand or know it exists, it's really very useful. In the world of technology or IT, a package manager is understood as, well, software that helps you manage applications or pieces of software you need within your system.
Deleting things, uninstalling, installing, updating. On macOS, it's known as Homebrew.
So we'll need to go to Safari and type Homebrew. As you can see, the link is already purple for me since I have Homebrew installed, but it's quite simple. We simply copy this command and then we'll go to the terminal. Don't be scared, I assure you the terminal is very, very useful to know how to use a little. Here we paste this command and basically what it will do is download from a repository. It's completely safe. We enter the password. It's normal if you don't see anything move. You just enter the password for your Mac user, the administrator, which in this case must be you, then hit enter and it will start to run. By doing this, it might check if Homebrew is installed, and if it is, it will update it. As you can see, I already have it installed. Great. With this, we can then install more applications that we will see. An application I recommend that's very useful, very practical, and you can also install from the App Store is LocalSend. LocalSend is open source and it's used for sharing files, photos, documents, and videos, so it's super practical. And it's an open source project. This means that it's free to use. It's also transparent. You can see exactly what it does or what it doesn't do, even if any of you were able or wanted to. You could also try to contribute to the project in the end. That's the beauty of the open source world.
Why is it interesting? Because I, for example, use an iPhone and a Mac.
In my case, como si I only use it for that, the LocalSend might not make sense. But if you have a Windows PC or Linux or an Android phone or want to share something with friends who are on your same local network, meaning they're at your house on your Wi-Fi network, and you want to share something or many files, LocalSend works very well because everything transfers via Wi-Fi. So when we go to the LocalSend website, we head to downloads, and as you can see, we have it for Windows, macOS, Linux, Android, and iOS. I personally have it on my iPhone, and now we'll do a quick demo so you can see how it works. For macOS, you can either go to the App Store if you want more security, or you can download the binary or the .dmg file, which is for macOS. Or, as you can see, look, for package managers, you also have the brew command. If you'd like, we can do it with brew so you can see how it works. Basically, you just copy this command, then go to the terminal and paste it. All right, let's expand this a bit so it's bigger. And also, if we press command and the plus symbol, we can make the text a little bit larger, just in case you can't see it clearly. Next, we'll use command V. As you can see, the command is brew install, and then the argument we're using is cask localsend. We'll hit enter, and now it's first searching to confirm that the package exists. It finds it, verifies it, and then begins installing localsend, which you'll soon discover is a very practical and incredibly useful application. As you can see, it's installed in this directory, applications as a LocalSend API. You can access it from here in apps and the LocalSend logo will show up. Or if you prefer, you can open the app directly from the terminal. I like doing it because it's as easy as typing open. We do a /, which would be, let's say, the root where the system's root is. Here you type the letter A and type app, hit tab, it jumps directly, auto-completing applications. We type an L, and when we tap, it jumps to LibreOffice or LocalSend. In this case, if we type O, it detects it's LocalSend, and you hit enter and it opens. It says LocalSend is an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? We open it and it just opens. Obviously, it's faster to go directly to apps and tap LocalSend, but if you prefer to switch screens, you can do it directly from the terminal. What it's asking us for here is a permission, and this is completely normal. In this case, we say allow. And what exactly do we have here? Basically, it's a name, which is a random alias, so you know that Powerful Blueberry is exactly your MacBook or your PC or whatever it may be. In this particular case, it's a MacBook Air, and the system is quite simple. We would install the app on our iPhone too, and I recommend you also have the LocalSend app open. In my case, my iPhone is called Big Papaya, right? They're quite curious names, so how does it work? We should go to send if we want to send from the Mac, meaning if there's a file on the Mac we want to send to the iPhone. As you can see, it already shows nearby devices, Big Papaya, because we're connected to the same Wi-Fi network and we can select any file. For example, I'll go to downloads and tell it, okay, I want to transfer this video, which is actually from, look, it's from the Mobile World Congress. We open it and it tells us exactly the size, how many files we have selected, we can add more or fewer. In fact, it has improved quite a lot in recent months, and now that we have the file selected, we simply have to select the device to which we want to transfer. It tells us here it's an iPhone, it's Big Papaya, it's mine, confirmed. So we press it, and in a matter of seconds, it transfers it. And as you can see, your iPhone tells you a file was just sent, you tap open, and if we go to the gallery, I now have it on my iPhone. But I repeat, in this case, if you have a Mac and an iPhone, you can use AirDrop. But if for some reason AirDrop isn't working well for you that day, or you want to transfer it to an Android device and you want something robust and reliable, LocalSend is absolutely fantastic. Let's move on now to another application that I personally really like, and I really wish I had known about it sooner. And which application am I referring to? I'm referring to an application that, again, is open source, and unfortunately, I believe it doesn't receive as much recognition as I think it truly deserves. So, what exactly is HandBrake, which comes with this cocktail and a pineapple? Well, as it clearly states here, it's HandBrake, an application or an open source tool that has been voluntarily built and developed to convert video from almost any format into a wide and modern selection of supported codecs. And its operation is very, very straightforward, at least for me, now that I'm used to it. So to install it, it's very simple. We download the DMG file, we open it in downloads, we click it and it says, hey, HandBrake is an app created by Safari. Are you sure you want to open it? We'll click on open. Here, for instance, we'll navigate to downloads and then we'll select this particular video file, which is a .mov. This interface will then open up for us, and let's just suppose that for whatever reason, your computer isn't handling movie videos very well. I mean, maybe it's running poorly or it's not playing them correctly and so on. Well, as you can clearly see, the interface itself is quite simple. I mean, it simply displays start for us. It then shows us the title, which is pointing to this video we had previously transferred from the iPhone. And here you tell it, I want it as MP4, because MP4 is usually quite compatible. Generally, with MP4, you shouldn't have any problems. Up here, it shows us the source, which is the video. It tells us exactly what format it's in, what resolution it's at, 1080, 1920, 30 FPS, 8-bit, and one audio track. As you can see, here we have the presets. We have it set to fast, which would be fast, right? So it's fast and light. At 1080, which would surely be in H.264, a very, very common and compressed format. Then you have very fast, which would be, you see, a very compressed H.264. This would be a normal H.264 with the AAC audio codec. And then we have it in a higher resolution, in AV1, which is a relatively modern codec. It's quite compressed, but depending on the computer, it might not be able to play it smoothly. So if you don't want problems, I recommend fast, because with H.264, there's generally no problem at all. But in this case, we'll go from 1080 to 720. Once you select the preset, then you can also choose the dimensions. Everything is more granular, video, then the audio quality, even subtitles, etc. In the summary section, or summary, you can see a bit how things will turn out. Then down here, I really like this feature because you can choose Save As or Guaracomo. So we'll go ahead and name it Video Test HandBrake. I really like this particular option because if you happen to have some videos in MKV or Matroska format, you can easily convert them directly to H.264 without any issues. And then here, on the right, it asks us, where do you want to save this video? In movies, which would be by default the videos or movies section. Well, no, in this case, I want to choose another location. We click browse and we'll select desktop. So in this particular case, it's desktop. And right here, it's already perfectly fine. We simply click on choose and then it's as straightforward as hitting start. But pay close attention. If any of you need to do this for say 10 videos, you'll notice it says add to queue right here. Queue means line, doesn't it? Like when you're waiting in line at the supermarket, you can select more than 10 or even 100 videos and then add them to the queue. So what this will do is automatically convert all these videos that are in the queue so you don't have to do it manually. And this helped me a lot one day because for some reason the videos were recorded in a format that my Mac didn't recognize and I couldn't edit the video. So this worked out very well for me. Anyway, once we have everything selected, whether it's just one video or 10 or even 100, we click start and the encoding job begins down here, as you can see. And this, well, obviously in the end, it's very simple. It finished in seconds, right? And here we have it, Video Test HandBrake, and we can now watch and play it without any problem. Now let's go to an application that some of you might think isn't entirely necessary, but I believe it is, because besides being aesthetically pleasing, it also gives us a lot of information. Why? Because on Macs, Mac Suites have an app called Activity Monitor. Personally, I don't really like this app much because yeah, sure, it's a fine interface. It gives you info on RAM, CPU, disk, and network. But no, I just don't like it. It doesn't quite convince me. And even though it's okay and comes with Macs, I think it could be done much better, right? So I'm going to show you two that I think are very good, since Activity Monitor can tell you a little bit about the different processes, but it doesn't tell you the temperature. You can't see all the information exactly because everything is made to look pretty. And yes, it's nice, but it's not very practical. So here, I'm going to show you one that I truly believe is very good, and at this moment, having Brew installed is very practical. So the application we are going to install is known as btop. So we will execute brew install btop. So for those of you who might not know, btop is a version of top, right? Top, as you can see, everything is constantly moving and we can monitor processes. And if there's any application that's really giving us a hard time, well, we can simply eliminate it from right here. But I understand that this can be quite hypnotic and perhaps it might overwhelm more than just a few. So btop is a version that's much more aesthetically pleasing and also much more organized, and I believe it's more comprehensive than Activity Monitor and certainly more appealing than top, right? So don't worry about it. If you're here to exit the top comments, you don't actually need to close the window, although you certainly can. But basically, you just press Ctrl+C and the process that's currently running will be interrupted, right? So let's go back to the other tab. To open a new one, I basically used Command-T and we'll run this command, brew install btop. We hit return or enter and btop installs. Great, once it's installed, we hit clear, and if we type btop, as you can see, we have this super cool interface that also reminds me a bit of Knight Rider. For those of you who were born in or after the year 2000s, I highly doubt you're familiar with the TV show Knight Rider, but as you can see, it looks absolutely fantastic. I mean, I really, really love it. I think, you can see exactly the processes, you can see the RAM usage, you can see how many cores are being used, the battery level, the time, also the network interface. You can see exactly the IP you have on this local network. You can see exactly if something is happening, if it's consuming a lot, if you see that it's heating up quite a bit. You can also understand why it is, which process is taking the most. Then also, if you click on filter, you can enter, for example, I want to see exactly what, when terminal is consuming. So you type termin and terminal shows up, right? And you can see how much memory it's using, the CPU percentage. And then you can know something very important, which is the process ID, right? It's the process identifier. This is great because, for example, we filter and say, hey, I want you to kill the terminal. Sila pumos tayo, o so you just hit terminate or kill, and that process will be terminated. This is particularly helpful because sometimes you might have an application that, for whatever reason, is always open or gives you an error, and you can't close that application or that process. So you could just come here, you can see exactly what is happening, and then you click terminate or kill, and it closes. That application without the entire system crashing. This is one of the great things macOS has done since the transition from macOS 9 to macOS X, because before it was a real pain, and now you can simply kill a process to unlock your Mac if for some reason an application is giving you headaches. And overall, I think it's great, and I believe it can give you a much broader view of what's happening on your Mac without having to open Activity Monitor or use top or htop. Because even though htop is good, I think btop is very, very good, and I love it. To exit from here, it's as easy as pressing Ctrl+C and you'll return to the terminal without a problem. Hey, alright, let's move on to another application that I think has been one of my favorites in recent months, and it's called Mailsy. So what exactly is this for? Well, let's imagine you want to create something, or perhaps you're the kind of person who likes to try out those 15-day subscriptions for anything at all. Movies, services, or any offer you see that simply requires an email. But you don't want your email address to remain permanently registered, or you'd have to create another one, or you end up making throwaway emails because that is truly a hassle. And even though there are websites that generate temporary emails, I don't really like them because often these sites recognize them and they don't work for enjoying that subscription. So Mailsy is very practical. You'll see it's very, very easy. And all without leaving the terminal, all directly from here. Believe me, it's really worth your while. To install Mailsy, it's as easy as running brew install Mailsy. And as you can see, for me, it already appears as installed. But then, how exactly does it work? Personally, just like many other people, I don't remember commands by heart, and sometimes this can happen. When this happens to you, it's as simple as typing Mailsy, which is the name of the package you want to use. And you can add, for example, help, which is an argument. That's what they're called, right?
These are the words that come after, right? They essentially modify or enhance the command so you can perform a specific action. For example, if you type Mailsy help, you'll get a full list of the different commands and options you can use.
For example, Mailsy quickly generates a disposable email directly from the terminal. How does it work? Different options. Output the current version. What is this for? To do Mailsy-V.
And this tells you exactly the current version, right? Which is 5.0.0. Okay.
Then, exactly as we did before, Mailsy-H or --help, it directly brings up this menu we're seeing. And what about the commands? Well, we have G, M, D, ME, and help, right? Which is the one we've seen. Let's say we now want to exchange or try a subscription we found online, right?
Well, what exactly should we be doing then? We would input Mailsy space G.
As you can see, it tells me an account already exists. For this test to work properly, we can use the D command, which is delete accounts or erase account, Mailsy D.
Boom. Right now, from the terminal, the account is deleted. Okay, now, if we press the up or down arrows, if we press up, we can go back to the commands we've previously executed. Now we can run mailcg again to generate. And as you can see, an email has already been created for us, which is this one here, n9uqe sherwood.net. Let's try it out so you can see exactly how it works. Let's suppose that, I don't know, we want to leave. We're going to try it out with my email. I'll go to my Gmail account and I'll compose a new email. As you can see, it says here, Sherwood. Subject, we'll put Mailsy test. Enjoy your 15 free days of movies, for example, right? Now we would send it, and now you say, well, but how can I see the emails? Easy. If we go up to the menu, it says fetch messages from the inbox. And this means that if you type MailCM, you'll see the inbox. So if we do this, Mailsy.
And as you can see, it's telling us, hey, please select an email. You need to use the arrows.
And here you see, well, since only one arrived, we have this, the Mailsy test. Now to read the message, we hit enter, fetching, and the content opens in your browser. And why is that? Well, if they've sent a photo, video, code, or more info in that email, it opens in the browser, as you see, in HTML format. This way, the browser can read the email's content exactly without you having to create a Gmail account or anything. I mean, to me at least, this is just wonderful. So I hope these applications are useful to you because I personally like them, not only because they're free, but because they work really well. Componentes, others have been the 5 applications that I think are really good and that anyone with a Mac should know about. Of course, if any of I've been to, if any of you believe I've overlooked an application that is also this style, open source, free, and works very well, please share it in the comments below so that everyone who watches this video can also benefit, including myself. And as always, if any of you are just arriving at this channel and are new to it, I highly recommend that you subscribe because every single week I try to create more and better videos where I aim to discuss technology from a much simpler, more accessible point of view so that everyone can easily understand and truly enjoy it, because I personally really love making these kinds of videos. And if you are left wanting more here of generators for Sakhalin, here are a couple of videos I think you might also like this. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next videos. Bye for now.